you don't.
Water.
No,
yes, you do. You have to watch Waterworld.
No, if
Just
you could
'cause
cut out
it's
the parts
so-
with Dennis
He's in
Hopper,
it.
that'd
though.
be
He's
great.
in it.
Yeah.
He's in.
I love Dennis
other
Hopper,
stuff,
and
too.
if he could not be in that movie, it would have been great.
But
He's
he
in
hated
Apocalypse
this movie.
Now.
Yeah,
isn't he?
of
Apocalypse
course,
Now.
of course.
He hated this movie though.
Yeah, of course he
He
did.
hated it, but I
Well-
think in the long run, he had to have looked back at it and been like, okay, I could see.
He was in Super Mario Brothers, so that's not
He
as
was
that's
King-
worse.
yeah,
than
he was
this.
Koopa.
Yeah.
This movie's awesome, and I mean, I know like halfway through, I noticed when his performance is kind of I don't want to say one-sided, but he answers the door in the hotel and he's very gaunt, like he's
Yeah.
been doing this a lot. And then I love when the scene. We'll talk about it later, I guess, with the chainsaw purchasing.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah, I'll pause that for right now. But the at about halfway through the movie, he just starts like saying Bible quotes for the rest, and I'm gonna bring this mother down. and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, and he starts sawing everything, and they can't hear him in that big giant place. It's
But
crazy.
yeah, Dennis Hopper, awesome.
So I would say the main villain of this movie, to me, the one that was highlighted the most, was definitely Bill Moseley's Chop
Yes,
Top.
yes.
Chop Top is awesome.
He was
The
by
most
far
memorable.
most memorable, and obviously that Bill Moseley, he played in House of a Thousand Corpses, Army of Darkness.
Yes.
He was also in he was the same character, Driftwood. In House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and The Haunted World of El Super Beasto.
Oh, okay. Is he going to be the same guy in
Same
three?
guy in all three of those.
Three from Hell that's coming
Yeah, I
out, the new
assume.
one.
I
Okay,
assume.
And
cool.
he was also on the Blob remake too.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. I
Oh,
saw
from
that.
the 80,
Yeah,
from 80.
yeah. I got to go back and
shit,
watch it just to kind of see him.
88, 86.
Little side story about this one. He made a movie, a little short film called Texas Chainsaw Manicure, and Tobe Hooper had seen it.
Okay.
And Tobe Hooper kept him in mind the whole time to cast him in this movie. And Bill Moseley is the most memorable character in the
Oh,
whole
for sure.
movie.
He's awesome.
Everybody knows
He
Bill
definitely
Moseley
overshadows Leatherface.
from this.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but he's his character. He's a Vietnam veteran,
Right.
which is a hippie.
Well, and
Is he
he's actually the twin brother of the hitchhiker.
the hitchhiker from the
beginning.
first
Who
one,
they
yeah.
carry around the whole movie
Yes,
with
they
them.
do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Which is super funny.
It's crazy.
Nubbins?
I mean, it's
No,
it's
this-
dark and fucked up, but the plate in his head is awesome. The makeup's awesome.
The makeup is killer.
so good.
Yeah.
You
on
fucked
him.
up my Sonny Bono.
When he- oh,
You put a dent in my plate. Can't go back to the VA hospital with a dent in my plate.
plate, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Jim Sidow,
Yeah, Jim Sidow.
Drayton Sawyer.
Drayton Sawyer, but it's funny because they show that, in the they talk about it at the beginning, his name being Drayton. You see it in the little panel, but he's only called the cook as he was in the first one, in the credits, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's obsessed with making the chili.
That's right.
Yeah, they got the best meat around here.
And I don't know.
I love this town, boys.
I love this town. And there's that scene where he's driving, and it's like he takes the phone call, which must have been from the boys in the
Right.
beginning.
I assume
And-
that was from Chop Top. Yes.
yeah.
I can't imagine what a conversation with Leatherface on the phone would be like.
No, I mean, no, I mean the portable phone that he answers is from the boys that die in the beginning.
Yes.
And I noticed that scene. He's not looking at the road for a very long time,
No, he is not.
Till he pulls over.
He's like freaking out.
and the shit almost tips over.
Slides in.
Yeah,
He really didn't do a lot
No,
of.
this was actually his biggest role for
Yeah.
sure.
this is his last film, I believe.
Yeah, because he did Texas Chainsaw, and then he did this one.
Kind of a cool backstory with him, though. He actually created one of Houston's first original local community theaters, and he directed like real plays, like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, things like that. So that's kind of interesting.
That's
you
pretty
know.
cool that he actually was involved with
And
a
I think
big
that
Texas
was
production
And
too.
I think that was well before he was in these movies.
Oh, sure, but
So-
that's
Yeah.
cool to get a veteran actor like that.
some of the behind the scenes from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a lot of the stuff that you see on Amazon. There's a documentary on the first one on Amazon. It has him sitting in his kind of den or whatnot, sitting on his duvet or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
His divan, and he's kind of like just like a normal dude. Just like, yeah, I really didn't think this movie would do a lot of stuff, but goddamn, it's like look at it now.
Well, definitely
They got toys of it.
It definitely propelled him forward, as in that zeitgeist for sure.
Yeah. Who do we got next? We got. We'll wait for Leatherface at the very end
So
here.
LG?
Yeah.
LG?
Lou
LG?
Perryman. Yeah.
So he went by Lou Perry and Lou Perryman. This was the guy I was talking about. He was on the Poltergeist movie as well.
okay.
He was
Yeah.
the pool worker at the beginning. Watch it again.
Oh,
it's a
for
big
real?
part, yeah.
Oh,
So he was the
cool.
guy that was leaning in, getting coffee and shit?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Okay, cool.
He was also in the Blues Brothers. He was
Awesome.
just a man at a bar at the
Oh,
Blues Brothers, so
that's
he wasn't
cool.
a big thing. But what was really cool about this is that he was a crew member on the original Texas Chainsaw
That's
Massacre.
cool.
Awesome.
So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, nice. I
But
think he
sad story to him, actually. He was murdered with an axe in real life in 2009 by a guy that was trying to steal his car.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Where was he at? In Texas?
I have no idea.
Because he was on Walker, Texas Ranger a couple of times.
I knew
too.
he did some
Yeah.
TV stuff as well.
Yeah.
They had some stuff listed. I didn't go through
Yeah,
it all.
and that's
Wow.
that's straight up made in Dallas,
Yeah.
Las
Oh
Colinas,
my
Texas.
God, dude.
Yeah, but
How brutal.
That's a
Yeah.
shitty ending.
Yeah. Sorry guys, but I was pretty shocked when I read it.
Let's move on to the next person.
yeah.
Let's make this a little sunnier. Can we talk about somebody else?
I don't know how to say this last name. Chris
Who is he playing?
Doritas. He plays Gunner or Rick.
Rick the Prick.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of music credits in movies. Not really much of.
He's got cool
anything
glasses in this
He's
one.
got the worst fucking laugh, dude. I would kill that motherfucker.
else. He was a dick.
I just thought it was crazy that they're
It's
seniors in high
stupid.
school and they're just driving around shooting a gun out of a car.
They even what I noticed too is they even have a fucking like a cup holder on the side that you could buy back in those days.
absolutely.
They fit on the fucking door frame.
And they got like a beer in
And
it.
he
Yeah,
had
he's got
those-
a fucking Shinerbach in it, man.
And he had the hologram eyeball glasses.
Yeah,
that were real big.
those are cool, kind of for being a prick. Rick
Yeah.
the prick.
Rick
What's his
the
buddy's name? Buzz.
I think so. Yeah. And then we got Ken Everett. He was Grandpa Sawyer. The makeup.
Oh,
there
Tom
was-
Savini's makeup is wonderful. on
Basically, Tom Savini said that this was like his best work.
this. Wow.
This is the work that he loves the most. He compared it to Dustin Hoffman and Little Big Man or some shit like that.
It's really good,
So
especially
it's
the
like
hands when he's
yeah.
grabbing the
It's
hammer.
crazy, dude. Now we're gonna end with who played Leatherface, and that was Bill Johnson.
So the big controversy here is they recast Gunnar Hansen,
Mhm.
right? Is that the
Yeah.
big thing?
Yeah, and R.A. Meloff was the third one, I think. He came in for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 or something like that. R.H. Meloff, which I got his autograph, which is weird. I got a picture that my little brother got for me. Thanks, Zach. Which was really cool.
Shout out to Zach, friend of the show.
Friend
of the show. That's a running joke if you don't know, because everybody is a friend of the show,
Friend
Even
of
if
the
they
show.
don't know it.
even if they don't know. Now that we've gone through everybody on the cast, all the main principal players, let's get started with the movie. Who wants to start it off here?
Well, I'll start it off here first. You started it off, Brock. It opens with the crawl, just like you said, with the kind of recapping of the first one.
Exactly.
And everyone at this point who's probably seen this movie, or most people, they've probably seen the original one. But I'm sure promotional material at the time it showed this one would be a little bit different.
And it filled in a little bit of the story of between.
That they've been
True.
traveling around just killing people.
And they moved from the one side of Texas to the northeastern side, correct?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of in the same
Northeastern
region.
Dallas.
Yeah. Same region. They're closer to Dallas, and the other ones I think it was more towards out in the country.
It was like
in
southern,
between.
right?
Yeah. It's in between in the weird spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so we
In
open.
the weird spots of Texas.
Weird spots to take on
I'm sure there's
287.
lots of fucking weird spots.
You gotta go out on 287, and then you head straight down from Amarillo, right straight over to Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Straight up your ass and to the
Nice
left.
5-hour drive, just like Amarillo to Colorado Springs.
Amarillo.
That's how I talk when I go back home.
Oh,
Nice.
And you know what? They do mention my hometown in this, which is pretty awesome.
Awesome.
Lefty,
On the-
I guess, from there.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Lefty and Right. He's like, I'm going to send you on an airplane, on the first airplane back to Amarillo.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's where I'm from.
Yeah, I
Every
hear
time,
it. I hear it.
every time I
movies.
drive to Amarillo, I think of that song. Amarillo by morning.
God.
That's a terrible
Yeah,
song.
I know, but it's on everything.
That's the only thing Amarillo's ever been known for.
There's a giant billboard with him on it, and it just plays over and over.
I don't
again.
even know who that is.
Yeah, George Strait.
Okay, sure.
Is it George Strait? Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know.
Jordan Peele. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
George Jones.
George Jones. George.
All right,
is it George Jetson or something?
Yeah,
Anyways, on
So
that.
we're driving down the highway here because if you remember in the last movie we did leave on a highway, right? Wasn't he out there screaming on a highway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just noticed that parallel.
Truck driver, ran over the hitchhiker, and then Leatherface was
was just dancing in
Yeah.
the sunset
Yep.
in that beautiful shot that we all remember. But
Summer school.
we're gonna switch it up here in this one a little bit. Things are gonna be different. But so we got these two senior guys, like we've mentioned before, Rick the Prick and like Buzz or Buck or some shit like
You
that.
can never hear his name because it shifts scenes back
Yeah.
to the radio station when
Yeah.
he says it, and I can never catch it.
Yeah. And so that's how we kind of connect to our main character because she's a radio DJ and they're listening to the radio. And somehow he's a preppy kind of guy because they're just fucking driving in Texas, shooting a gun at signs and stuff,
yeah.
drinking.
Going to the Texas OU game.
Yeah, they're going to.
But you know what her name is too in the movie?
Stretch.
Vanita Stretch. You know what her last name is? Brock.
Stretch, bro.
Oh,
That's
there you
right.
go.
There's two connections to this
Oh,
movie that I
awesome.
personally have.
Sweet.
Right there.
Wait a minute, your name's not Brock.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Brock
I stand
Stretch.
corrected.
It's my first and last name. We got
Brock,
both
Brock?
kinds here in Texas.
Brock,
First
Brock?
and last.
We form our hair in the shape of waves down here, boy.
That's when we get to see the studio,
Yep,
which
the
they're playing.
studio.
She's playing some cool music in that place.
I don't know the song
Absolutely.
she's playing right then and there, but she you get an intro with her and they're going crazy drinking, and yeah, you get to see the studio and LG.
Yeah,
He's over there, but you don't really get to hear him yet.
not yet.
But you get to kind of get a sense of we're in Texas. I'm just broken out into a drawl all of a sudden.
There's Dr. Pepper signs and Shiner Box signs everywhere.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know you're in Texas with that.
Yeah, she's
It's-
playing some music.
You pay import prices for a domestic beer.
But it's a cool way it's a cool way I thought in the
For
story.
real.
It's a cool way in the story to have them listening to the radio and then have them actually call them to introduce the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it. And they don't want to hang up. And,
And-
since
and-
this is back in the day,
You can't free up the line.
you can't
so-
free up the line unless they
And
hang
Buck
up.
Buzz says the word baby like 18
Yeah.
times.
Ooh,
He's like,
we're going to
the baby. What?
you can tell he's a prick too in the 80s because he's wearing like a sweater.
Yeah.
Or like he's got something. He's got like
But
a
they're
sweater
driving a
vest.
Mercedes, a
Yeah,
gold
and
Mercedes.
yeah.
Come on, I mean, who wasn't a prick that drove a Mercedes in the 80s?
What was that license plate, Tyson?
Oh yes. Let me tell this story. I had always grown up like you have like initials to put in on games and stuff. You just put like ass
Yeah.
or like you put your initials or whatever. Like I'd always put mine.
BTCH.
Yeah, and one of the ones I'd always put was FAQ, FAQ, and I always got that from Dazed and Confused. Well, this one, it's a little different because on the license plate it does say FAHQ, but I did notice that, and this is definitely like 4, 5, 7 years earlier,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like fuck you is on their license plate, so right away these guys are fucking pricks.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But they're
Fuck you.
seniors.
They're seniors.
They're seniors.
Yeah.
They're because don't they say something about the senior class at
Yeah,
high school?
Yeah.
This is from the senior boys to the senior girls, and you stuck up.
Oh, you stuck up bitches. And they won't hang up, and then they decide to play chicken with an oncoming car, a
Truck.
truck,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
blue truck with tinted windows.
All blacked out too.
All blacked out,
The
yeah.
truck is pretty badass too.
It is
It's
pretty-
one of
does it
those-
have an American flag in the back?
It's a side. It's got sidestep. That's,
Yeah, it's one of those flare sides.
Or is it
Yeah, thank
was
you.
it a Confederate flag in the back
I
window?
I think it was an American flag, maybe.
It was I thought there was a flag in the back window.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't remember.
they essentially are drunk and driving, and they decide to, with a gun,
yeah,
a loaded gun in
Yeah.
the car,
Let's play
decide
chicken.
play chicken on this 2-lane highway with this truck coming. Eventually, it runs off the road and turns around, and you're kind of like, this is that was probably pretty ominous there.
Foreshadowing.
Right?
Foreshadowing.
But then we get a little bit more of seeing them in the studio,
Right.
which she's kind of talking, and you're kind of getting to know the characters just a little bit, But that's right. It turns night again, so God knows where they were actually at. It looked like they were outside of Dallas, but yet they're still driving
Yeah,
outside of
yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah, and they had
like
a
30 minutes later,
They
or
had
an hour
one of those
later.
car phones, and that couldn't have gotten that far. Sir. Well,
Oh,
yeah.
they did
Yeah,
back in the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, they
it, would
did.
get, we'd get service everywhere. The
Yeah.
problem is it would cost you $2.49 a minute.
Yeah, it was four.
Yeah.
They were 4 watts, 4-watt phones. They got service everywhere.
And they were like built into the car, right? Weren't they?
Correct.
Well,
in that car, yes.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't because again, the cook he's got it. So
Right, they must have pulled it out of there.
Yeah, you could still take it out.
Yeah,
I mean, it was still put in there. It wasn't built in when they manufactured the car.
Yeah.